Thank you for joining us on this first EBA podcast on diversity and inclusion, focusing on gender equality. I'm François-Louis Michaud, the Executive Director of the European Banking Authority, and I'm very glad to be joined by Mrs. Gertrud Ingestad, who is the Director General for Human Resources and Security at the European Commission. At the EBA, we have two mottos when it comes to inclusion and gender equality. First, we believe that a public organization should resemble the society it's embedded in. And second, we believe that gender equality should and can be achieved. In other words, that change is possible. Gertrud, the European Commission is definitely setting the tone on those important matters, not only for itself, but also for a very large population of European agencies and organizations spread around within the Union. So can you tell us about the Commission's main objectives with regards to achieving gender equality, especially at management level?
Thank you very much, and it's really a great honor to be talking with you about these topics and to have an audience that might listen to us, because this is really something that is very close to our heart. And it started actually with our president stating that she wanted to achieve gender balance at management level, and in particular senior management level, by the end of her mandate. So that it was a very, very clear mission, fully supported and driven, of course, by our Commissioner Hahn. So we have concentrated a lot on this, but there was also in the mission to do this in a way that feels realistic and not too much discouraging to men. So, and this is, of course, the balance that is embedded in all diversity and inclusion issues, whatever aspect we speak about. So for us, we really wanted to achieve both things, the gender balance by the end of the mandate, and we are achieving it, I can say already, and encouraging also the male population so that they don't feel overseen. So I don't know if we go already into a little bit of the thinking that we've done in order to get there.
Yeah, that would be perfect. But thanks first and foremost, thanks for reminding this very clear objective that you wanted to achieve it by the end of the mandate. And I think that's really important. And the fact that you've been able to do it is really inspiring.
And it's actually in a year. That we have the end result. We need to have the end result, so we're really on track, and I will get back to that in a moment. So so what we did was we looked at what are the issues for the moment. Why do we not have enough female candidates? Because it's about that. We had the lack of female candidates. We are beginning to see a difference there, but we really had a problem. We have a lack of pipeline, so enough female candidates coming up through the career ladder. We have a profound mistrust of the procedures, or had rather, because we've been working a lot on this, and a lack of networking among some of the populations of future possible female senior managers. So we looked at all of this and to see what do we need to do. And we have been working a lot on preparation, on encouragement, on development programs, so targeted development programs, because for senior management level, you really need to look at what the person needs. So we have individual programs that really target the speed and the level needed for each person. And we also had we organized workshops for networking to see what is important for leadership culture in the Commission, because from different member states there are different views on what leadership culture is. And we also did a bit of a real push to meet all the underrepresented, also because we also talk about nationality, national balance, geographical balance. So we fight both those aspects a little bit at the same time. So we met a lot of women, and in particular from the underrepresented member states, to really talk them through what we think, and to encourage them, and also to listen to what they would need. So we built our actions around this. But something that we've been saying very clearly as well over the whole period and to everybody, and it's very important with the messaging, is that nobody will be recruited and selected because they are a woman or from a particular member state. But it's really about enlarging the pool, enlarging the pipeline, help everybody to be interested and prepared. And then the selections will have their turn. And I think that's part of the success as well for the men. And also that we don't have quotas. We have nudged continuously, relentlessly, as we like to say, the slight shift to women. So we have over the mandate, we have around 57% appointment women, which means that we still have almost 50% appointment of men. So that speaks itself sort of to the men. And we haven't had too much objection. Of course, we do have some, and some men feel overseen, or that they're not enough seen and don't have enough possibilities. But globally, this has worked quite well, and we are now at 47% senior management. So that is within the sort of the margin of what can be called balance, not yet parity, but balance. But the important thing is also to build the structure. So you build the underlying basis to stay balanced over time. And there we come back to the other aspects. I was talking about geographical balance, but in all equality and diversity issues, you have different aspects that will prime over time. So there will be different things we look at. For example, for secretaries, we want to have more men. Mm-hmm. So for whatever aspect you look at, you have to see, so what are the issues, and then just nudge it, I think, and do the messaging very carefully.
That's really interesting, Gertrud, and very clear. And I really take your point about the importance of the preparations and also the constant checking in the execution. You touched on the different cultures, also on the different groups of staff members. And you've been an executive in very different areas, including in IT, which is also famous as being populated more with men.
Yes.
Do you perceive important differences across sectors, as you are just suggesting, or is it more a question of pace, or is it that the approach should be or could be the same, or how would you recommend us to tackle those different challenges?
That's a very interesting question that I've been thinking a lot about, because I came into IT without having an IT background, but I was interested. And I think that is one of the key aspects. You need to be interested and have an idea of what can be achieved within the domain. And then you don't have to have the expertise, especially when you come in at senior management level. So that's the difference. So for myself, I didn't feel it was a disadvantage as such not to have the background, as long as you trust your teams, because that's what you have to do. You have to have a vision, you have to have an idea, the interest, but then you have to trust your team. And that is in any case important for any leadership function. So then we come to the candidates. Is it different to prepare somebody for a selection or a mandate in different sectors? I think at senior management, the key aspects are the same. It's the leadership, it's having enough interest in the domain. And for some domains, of course, you need more expertise to start with. But it's more personal, I think, than gender. It depends on you as a person. It's more difficult, I think, to prepare for a technical selection, for example, for an IT selection, as I know that area quite well, than it is for some other areas, because you have a tendency to become quite technical. And the panel is globally, at least the final panels are not technical experts. So that's the finest balance there. Of course, you have a little bit of the same in all selections. You can never become too technical. You have to hit it right between horizon, vision, and showing enough practical and concrete input to show that you can actually do the job. So, but for a technical career, I think that's even more difficult to achieve. But otherwise, I think actually that is more personal, depending on what is your characteristics? Where are your skills? Are you more of a detailed person, or are you more of a visionary and big picture person? So it's really more about that, hitting it right, both in the selection process, but also in doing the job. It's so that, and there we come to the global leadership skills that we need more and more, I think, in all organizations, to be more of a leader, more of a sort of people manager, inclusive, participatory, in order to get things right.
So it's really very insightful, and it also comes back to what you were saying before about the preparations, right?
Yeah.
Because also recruiters need to be aware of possible biases, and also of being able to distinguish. They should be able to distinguish between those skills, the behavioral skills that you were just mentioning, and the technical requirements, and not basically choose in favor of the technical or technicalities over the vision or the skills as a manager. So that also needs to be prepared very carefully. I think what you said about the other half of our workforces, males, also is very important. We also need to make sure that they remain fully motivated and committed. That's clear. Would you recommend anything in terms of communications, internal? How should we speak about those matters within our organizations as well, to get it right and not to confuse things even more?
If we start from the top level of messaging, I think exactly messaging communication is really, really important. To really repeat that, repeat the rates of appointment, of selection, so that they see that they are more or less at the same level. That's not a big difference. Also, to repeat the messaging that nobody is selected because of their whatever gender or nationality, but it's really preparation, widening the pool. That's an important message. And also not to block men or the underrepresented group from development programs. They need to be open to everybody, even if maybe we push a little bit more the women and encourage them more, but when men should not be blocked from participating. And I think that is something that is very important as well. And I think most of our colleagues in the Commission understand this relationship. You always have some complaints, of course, but especially I had a specific event when we had complaints, and that was when we sent a message, actually. Well, we did an experiment. Let me take that in between, because we had also, I mentioned mistrust of the procedure. So the feeling that most of the prospective candidates tell us is that, well, I don't apply if I'm not asked to apply, because most of the posts are foreseen anyway, are decided before they are published anyway. But that's not true. And in order to prove this, we actually did a couple of experiments. One of them was to publish 3 profiles together, so a joint publication. It was a bit of an experiment, really, for 3 resource directors from different directorates general together. So they had to apply for all 3. And that was also to prove to the candidates that these were open. It's an open procedure to get them more implied, and we had a lot of candidates for those procedures, actually. But the thing we did, we also sent a message, a push message to all the women at middle management level, because it was also published externally, so that you could apply from a lower grade. We do that as well, by the way. We publish a lot of posts externally, so that you can also get experienced middle managers who are not yet at the grade for eligibility, internal. So we published it externally, and we sent an email to all the women who would be eligible for an external publication, to explain them the rules, how they could apply, how it would work, and also why don't you contact us if you want to know more, and why don't you consider applying. And there we had some reactions from men who didn't get the same message. So, but it's quite typical, because there they felt that it goes back to the procedure. So I'm not told to apply, so I will not apply. So, but it's the dynamics is very interesting there. But I think you have to do this as well, a bit of the experimentation, going a little bit out of the framework, because that also proves to people that yes, we're looking for ways.
We are trying things, and we are And what you were saying about facts and repeating the facts relentlessly, having the the simple facts available
Yep.
and relentlessly mentioning them. And that's also important to show the commitment and the combination of this pull and push approach to indeed convince people and enrich our pools.
Exactly.
Gertrud, many thanks for sharing with us your experience, those fantastic insights on gender equality. That was really very inspiring. See you soon.
Thank you very much for letting me be with you, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.